Our big mission at NewView is really to support creative learning and across ages, and to be in an environment that really nurtures that approach. The studio model that we have is extremely focused on the design process, so it's not so much just about having a great idea or knowing that you're going to have a really great product at the end, but it's really about the process, the iterative process.
We get students out of their regular school environment and we give them design challenges, basically in a format of a 2-week studio.
Most of the studios at NewView have some kind of creative or technical focus. There have been studios at NewView that are filmmaking. I've done studios where I'm making prosthetics. There are fashion studios. I'm currently working on a medical device that's connected to the internet. So the projects are real-world design problems, but there's a very, very wide range.
Being a student at NewView is very different than a typical school experience. I mean, I don't really consider NewView school just because it's so different. It's kind of fun for me. It's not like as structured as school. It's much more self-directed. You can kind of choose what direction you want to go with all the projects rather than just being assigned like a problem set and having to solve every problem a very specific way.
For 2 weeks at a time, you're working on some kind of project where you have a problem that you need to solve, and it's a real world problem, and you iterate on it until you have some solution that you think is as good as it can be, and then you present it.
The iterative process is at the core of how we teach design and how we teach students how to think critically, but it's also an area that they have a lot of challenges acclimating to, because it's not something that they generally will have learned in schools. The students sometimes are used to this idea that there's a right answer and a wrong answer, that there's a way to do something, and that's part of what makes coaching both interesting and challenging, is that we don't know what the students are going to do before they do it. If we did, then we wouldn't be doing things right. And we say that to the students sometimes. If the idea that you have at the beginning is the same as the idea that you have at the end, you've done something wrong, or you haven't learned anything.
Students, when they come to points in their project, can think that they're done, and they can think that there's nothing more they can do. Coaches will help guide them and find different ways to challenge them, or that they can improve their projects, or just try to keep them on, the path, because a motto here that we have is that we're never done.
The name of, even the word teacher describes someone who's going to partake knowledge and to a student. And so we wanted to kind of dissolve that type of relationship. And coach seemed like a really excellent analogy, because if you even look at a coach in a sports setting, they're really there to support the team and to provide guidance and feedback, but really the independence in terms of action and thinking and thought and the process is really up to the students.
The coaches come up with some sort of prompt that they want you to solve, and so I've been in one studio where the prompt was like, we want you to make a medical simulation device that could be helpful to someone at Beth Israel Hospital. We did a lot of brainstorming, at least like 2 or 3 days of brainstorming, and by the end of it, we had like a really solid idea of what some of the issues were and what some of the possible solutions would be. And after that, we kind of chose the one we thought had the most promise and started thinking about how we could actually make what we wanted to make. It's a lot of logistical stuff and trying to figure out how you can put something together from the original vision.
Our hope here is that as the students go through a number of studios, that they need less and less kind of critical guidance from the coaches, and that the coaches become more collaborators in their process.
In order for the process to be really strong for us, it was really important to have a really strong kind of critique culture and in creating an environment where ideas can be critiqued, different prototypes and iterations can be constantly evaluated, and to be in a space where things are always changing and there's revisions that are happening, and in a place where there's a lot of collaboration for having peer-to-peer input and input from coaches to students.
I think that broadly the most important thing that I've learned at NewView is how to think and how to be critiqued on my thoughts. At NewView lets you experiment, so you get to create something, which means you have a sense of personal responsibility. You have to care about what you're doing, and then they take it out of your head and they critique it. And this means that You have to think, first of all, and then you have to be able to take your thoughts and have intelligent discussions about them.
So the presentation piece is really key for NewView and our studio model. Firstly, because it allows students to digest and reflect on the process that they've used to actually start from an idea that they had and go through those different iterations till they get to their final product. And so all of the presentations allow for the students to really contemplate and reflect on that process and synthesize all of their understanding into their work and communicate it in a way that's understandable and exciting for an audience.
I came here not really respecting my ability to think. I think that my interest in learning wasn't huge, and I didn't really think that I had a whole lot of hand in my own education. But after coming here, I think that they have encouraged me to, challenge myself and to, create my own problems and then to solve my own problems. And if I can't solve that problem, to ask for help.
The work that the students do here matters, and it helps people and it changes people's lives in a really positive way. And for the students to believe that they can have an idea, that they can think about that idea, work through it, and come out with a solution that actually is meaningful in the world is the best thing that I think that students can get out of here.